Today we'll try a new coconut rum against my coconut rum. Now you might think there's some bias here since one of these is made by me and the other one is made by Planteray, but truthfully I have no strong attachment to the one that I made. In fact, I made this earlier this year in anticipation for the Planteray coconut rum coming out, and I wanted to try my own hand at making my own coconut rum and to make it as easy and simply as possible. So this rum has been out a while now, but I have not had it. I've not even cracked open this bottle. I've been waiting for this moment where I could taste it against the one that I made. The Planteray Cut Dry coconut rum is 40% ABV, and they say it is 100% natural, made from coconut sourced by local farmers in Barbados. Planteray gets a lot of crap from people. It's also very much beloved as well. And it might surprise you, but I'm pretty indifferent to them and most brands. People think I hate them because I've joked about Plantation or Planteray 3 stars, but that has been mainly to prove a point. I used to really love this rum, or I thought I did, and I still think it's a solid under $20 daiquiri rum. But what happened was I did a bunch of blind taste tests a couple of times, and I found that that one was one of my least favorites. And it's moments like that where you start to wonder and question why everyone loves something so much. Now, obviously, we're all different. We all have different likes and preferences. So if you love it, that's totally fine. But there is a lot in the rum world and the cocktail world in general where people just love something and then feverishly defend that thing, but they might not even know if they really like it. So why do they like it? Is it influence from an influencer? Is it big brand money? Is it faces on the sides of the bottles, or is it something else? Now, I don't know, but sometimes I like to push back on that conventional thinking when I can, and it's not really to influence anyone, but just to get people to question and prompt more people to try things, blind or semi-blind if you can, and come up with your own conclusions. Now, after all, I really like Plantation Zymaca and OFTD, or do I? Actually, I do. I actually like those. So now, back to the cut and dry, because I have even more beef with the name here. There are 35 grams of sugar per liter added to this rum. That's 24.5 grams in this bottle. And it's called cut and dry, which is because the coconuts are said to have been cut and then dried before they use them. But when you're a brand known for adding sugar to your rums, saying something that's cut and dry in the name, and then the subheadline being a dry artisanal coconut rum, is it's a little bit confusing. Now, obviously, much drier in terms of sugar and sweetness than something like Malibu, which is about 181 grams of sugar per liter. Now, Planteray as a brand is one of the few to offer transparency to the sugar that they do add to their rums. That information, it's not on the bottle, but is available online, and they deserve a little bit of credit for that. In fact, I would give them even more credit. However, another huge complaint. They have the absolute worst website I've visited in probably years. And it's a new website. I'm sure it costs them a small fortune. Every single element on that website is some type of animation. You can't right-click to open a new window or tab. Just getting to each rum's page is, for me, someone that has no patience, it's a nightmare. There's videos, there's animations, there's transitions every time you click on anything. But they do let you download the tech sheets, which is nice, so you can view that instead of the website, which may or may not cause a seizure. So it's a molasses rum from Barbados, pot and calm still, and it says pieces of dried coconut are infused with the rum. Okay, so my complaints with the website, it's just totally for usability. It doesn't have anything to do with the rum or the company. It's just a bad decision to make that website. But before I even try this one neat, I want to try this in a daiquiri to see side by side. I don't want to get any hints of what it smells like or what it tastes like, so let's try these right now in a daiquiri. And since there is a difference in the sugar that's added, I'm going to compensate for that in the one that I'm using with the coconut rum I made by adding 1 extra gram of sugar per ounce. Slight difference in color between the two. The Planteray version, they do add some type of caramel coloring. That might be 100% of the color here. The color coming from the one I made, because we use half shredded coconut, half toasted shredded coconut. I want to start with that one since that's kind of my baseline, and we'll just go ahead and try it. The coconut flavor in that one, it's very one-dimensional. It tastes like the shredded coconut. You get some of those toasted coconut notes, which I do like, but there's not a lot of depth to it. It's a little bit one-note coconut. It doesn't have as much of a strong flavor as using like a coconut milk in a cocktail. So it has hints of coconut. It's unmistakably coconut, but it's not super robust. Let's try the Planteray. definitely has more of a bite. The coconut flavor, it tastes a little different, but it's not as different as I thought. They do use different rums in here, pot still and calm still, where the one I use, I'll double check. I'll cut this if I'm wrong. I think I use Flor de Caña. So it's a pretty basic light white rum. So there is more rumminess to this one, but not much. It's just this one, just that sort of one note coconut. This one has a little bit more complexity to it. It is a little bit rounder and smoother as well. It has a nice texture to it in the daiquiri, but neither one of these tastes sweet. Now, obviously, the sweetness in there is coming from the sugar you put in. I did use powdered sugar. I made sure to compensate for the fact that this one had a little bit less sugar in the rum. I ended up using 1.5 teaspoons of the powdered sugar, which is like just about a teaspoon of sugar. And I do that on purpose because I want to make sure that I can still taste the rum and the lime juice and I'm not overpowering it with sweetness. I should probably try these neat. So on the nose, it's kind of like a sharp, fragrant coconut. It's as dumb as this sounds. It's like sticking your face into a bag of shredded coconut. You still get some of the ABV. It's not necessarily that you're picking up that it's rum, but it's just like a real coconut thing. But we're not talking about like coconut suntan lotion vibe here. It smells like shredded coconut. I mean, you can see that there's sugar in there. There's just more body to it. The coconut smell, to me, it's a lot more enticing than the one that I made, and it has more depth to it. I don't know how much this is aged. It has that feeling of like an aged barrel notes going on, and maybe that's in my mind too because I'm thinking about Planteray and the cognac cask they often use. But it has that kind of vibe if you've ever poured out and kind of smelled Grand Marnier. It has like little hints of that spice, but not much. It just has, I mean, kind of a luxurious vibe going on. It has that coconut flavor, but it's just like a little bit of harshness because you're basically, without the sugar, you're getting a touch of sweetness from the coconut, but you're really tasting Flor de Caña neat. What this one does that the other one can't is that this tastes like coconut rum. Like it tastes like rum. It's a Barbados rum. It is not like a super light Spanish heritage style rum. It's also not Jamaican style rum. It has that Barbados rum quality, like the quintessential like entry point to someone trying real rum for the first time, I think is something like a Barbados rum, and it has that as its backbone. While the aroma of coconut is relatively intense, I think the flavor, though, is much more balanced. You're getting the sweetness from the sugar. It's helping round things out, helping it be smooth. But the rum does come through a lot more than this one. So now in the cocktail, I think they're pretty close. There's definitely a difference between the two, and I do prefer Planteray version in the cocktail. But then you got to start thinking about price. 700 milliliter bottle, $30. A little more difficult to find, where this one is $17 a bottle and some coconut. So you're getting that coconut flavor in this daiquiri. It's not quite as complex, or the depth of that coconut flavor is not there compared to Planteray one. So in conclusion, the Planteray coconut rum, it's better than the one I made, and I'm glad for that. They spent years working on this one, where I spent a couple hours working on mine. So it makes sense. And if you love coconut, and I'm not talking about the super sweet stuff, but if you just really love the flavor of coconut, I think you will really love the new Planteray coconut rum. But if you're on the fence about coconut in general, I don't see a ton of applications here, because outside of a daiquiri or pretty simple cocktails, that coconut flavor in either of these is going to get lost. Now, I will say, if you are a big fan of Plantation Planteray and you're kind of thinking about this one compared to the Stiggins Pineapple, I mean, I prefer that one more. That one on its own in a daiquiri, it's just a good solid rum. It's just more of like a hint of pineapple flavor, and I think more people are going to like that one. I would prefer and choose that one pretty much every time over the coconut, but if you love coconut, then this would be the one for you. All right, so that's it for this one. Coconut rum, the Planteray coconut rum versus my own homemade DIY coconut rum. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like below. Consider subscribing to this channel. If you want to support this channel more, go check out that Patreon page, and otherwise, see you on the next one.